Hi guys, welcome to today's Power Talk with myself, Sarah Simmons, and impact influencer Doina. I'm excited for Doina to be coming on board any second and sharing the story with you of how being unique, following art can make awesome changes and impact your life. Hi Doina. Hi.
Hi.
So gorgeous to see you. Look, we've both got our plants in the background.
I know, I decided to diversify my live background because I've been using a white wall and I thought, no, I need a bit of greenery.
It's nice to have some nature around.
For sure, yes.
So welcome to everybody who's joining us. I'm Sarah Simmons and this is Doina, and we're really excited to share with you today stories about following your heart, saying no and making impact. How's your day been today, Doina?
It's actually been quite busy, even though I decided not to do the fashion month. I still kind of ended up seeing some people here and there, and then a lot of online meetings and deadlines. And it's funny because even though we don't physically necessarily meet, we can still have a full schedule because, with Zoom meetings, it can take a full day, just like with normal meetings.
Yes, how are you finding it? I mean, who would have thought this time last year this would be our new reality?
I know. I mean, to be honest, I think it's about time because, well, it's for sure nice to go out and sit in a nice restaurant and, see people face to face. So many things can be done online. And I think there was just so much unnecessary travel for one meeting that can really be a Zoom one. So I think it's actually good that we're bringing that practice in. I hope it's going to stay even past COVID.
I agree. I think there's so much, it's so effective to do things digitally and you get so much more done. You don't waste your time and you can get to connect with awesome people all over the world. Like you and I have connected. I'm in London, you're in Milan. And we, through the power of this medium, it feels like I've known you and we've been friends for years and we've never even
Yeah.
met.
For sure, yes. No, I love that. I mean, obviously I will. I'm a bit biased here because, so much of what I do is based on the digital existence of the modern world. So to me, it's like, yes, finally, but maybe a lot of people are not so pleased about it.
Well, I think obviously we can't, there's so much difficulty going on. And but what I think is really nice is always to look for the positive and see how we can embrace the positives through a difficult situation. And I feel like it's like the universe has brought this to us to sort of like smash a lot of the old ways of doing things and to force us to do things in a different way, which, would you agree?
For sure, it's been a big learning curve, I think, for society. And my only worry is that we don't really learn long term. And I mean, we see that from history and humanity's experiences. We always stumble through the same things, and at once we learn and we become so self-aware, and we say we'll change and then we don't, because once everything gets back to normal, people forget. And that's my only worry. And it's the same with the environment, unfortunately. Whilst everyone was very excited about all the reduction of the carbon emissions and, the reduction of that and the other, I think once traveling is available again, everyone's going to forget about that.
Well, that's what we're here to talk today about, making impact in your incredible journey on how you actually took yourself from always pursuing and doing something really, really different to following the heart of things, doing things with your intuition before anyone else, becoming a blogger before anyone else, making impact before anyone else. So welcome everybody today. I'm Sarah Simmons. I'm an impact expert and a global leader in living consciously. And this series, Power Talks, is all about bringing together awesome, incredible people from around the world and having real conversations to inspire each other, to be real and to make impact. So welcome, Doina. And we're going to have loads of fun for the next 30 minutes. So stay tuned. Doina's going to answer really cool, 10 questions, secrets that you don't know about her. I'm sure I'll throw a few secrets in as well about how you can make impact and we're here to have fun. So if you guys have any questions, please send us a message as well. So Doina, you're one of the world's original bloggers. 10 years blogging is what you've done, and you followed that. You did it 10 years before anyone else, and today you're making impact. You're on a new frontier. You've always been following the new frontier. What are your top 3 motivations that made you want to lead a life following your heart and your intuition?
The desire to follow my heart and intuition. I think that's the number one motivator, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a strong desire to do it, I might bring you the best business propositions, but it's not going to change your mind. I think you have to want to do it. To creativity, and I think the freedom that you get with creativity when you are following your heart. And then also, for sure, I think the learning curve of kind of following your heart, because you get to really experience things that you genuinely want to in life, which a lot of times, you know, you won't learn the same things even through university and PhDs, and it really is about going out there and experiencing the world. It's a different type of learning, and I think you can only do that by following your heart and getting out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And you got out of your comfort zone and you became one of the world's top bloggers. And I loved you and I followed you for years because of this incredible, unique style that you have and this larger than life personality that you share on social media. And then I was amazed when we spoke and you said, you know, you were doing all these fantastic projects with many of the world's top brands. But inside you, like, your heart was saying something different. It was telling you to lead a different way of life. What was that all about?
Yes, I mean, I think it's because I never quite wanted to just do, you know, product endorsement and live this kind of celebrity lifestyle, because I think that's what a lot of influencers are living right now. It is an actress, a celebrity lifestyle, and it's nice, of course, and I still partially live it. I'd be a hypocrite to say I don't, and I love it. But at the same time, it just, exactly like you said, it just felt like, you know, where am I going with this, and what's the impact that I'm having on the world or on my small circle? And I realized that beyond my fashion kind of taste and the fashion influence that I was having, there wasn't much to it, which wasn't me at all, because I was someone who, you know, loved history, was studying history, loved politics, and was always involved in social issues, but nobody knew that side of me online. So I think I decided at some point, actually, why don't I let my followers know me better, know me the way I really am, not just my fashion side.
Totally. And was it scary for you to think, actually, I want to share with the world my real self?
Not really, because I'm a very stubborn person. So even though obviously I knew that there would be people that maybe, I mean, it's normal that somebody wouldn't like your way of thinking. We're all unique individuals. I would never want to impose myself on someone. So I knew that, you know, there'd be people that wouldn't like it, but at the same time, I wanted to do it, and I knew that there would be people that would associate with how I felt, and I was doing it for those people that kind of felt the same, not for the ones that didn't. So I think it definitely comes from stubbornness. A lot of the things, and you know, that's one of those things. When I was little, my parents told me that you shouldn't be so stubborn, and it's, you know, it's a bad trait. But I think actually stubbornness is one of possibly the best traits you can have, especially in today's world.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Stubbornness, and like a dog with a bone, going for something, following your heart, because amazing things happen when you follow your heart. And I'd love for you to hear a story about what's one of the most awesome things and opportunities that's happened for you since you made the decision to live with impact being at the center of what you do.
I mean, it's phenomenal. So many projects that I'm working on, from being a goodwill ambassador for a lot of campaigns and projects around sustainability and environmental issues and social issues. So everything together, feeling, I think, you know, the one example that I can give is when people write to me that, oh, you know, because of you, I changed my life like this. And that is truly, honestly, I could have thousands of negative opinions, but if I have that one person that I know I've changed their life for the best, that's what really matters. And I get thousands of those kind of messages, you know, oh, I ditched this kind of plastic because of this. Oh, I did that because of this. Oh, I looked at politics differently because like you taught me to research, and now I'm not so blinded by, you know, what I see on social media. So that for me is the motivator, and that gives me, that's probably the most amazing thing that has happened. The real kind of followers and audience that's out there.
Yeah, I think like people are ready for this message, like, and I think that's, for me, it's another positive that has come out of COVID. It's like finally we can get rid of the fakeness of life and actually show our true selves. Has that been well, have you felt like that in terms of your experience? Like, have you felt the realness of things coming through in a deeper way?
To be honest, for myself, not so much, because I've always, as I said, not always, for the past years, I have been very kind of raw on my social media. So there wasn't kind of a moment where I felt, oh, now I can show my real self, or, you know, now. So it was just exactly the same. But I think I have noticed it in people's content. There has definitely been a lot more mindful content. Sorry, that's my tram. It's very loud.
That's okay.
There has been a lot more mindful content. I think there has been a lot more interaction, because for so long we were running around events, live, work meetings, and we weren't really interacting with each other. We didn't know our colleagues. We didn't know people we stumble across, and, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And for once we actually stopped and we're like, oh, actually, you know, I'd never met Jim. What's Jim like? So you started making real connections.
Yeah, I really, really, really agree with you. Real connections that happen physically next to us with our next door neighbors, and then also digitally. So now I'm gonna move on to some kind of really like some crazy questions for you. How would you solve our world's problems if you were from Mars?
Oh God. Probably start everything from zero. I mean, to be honest, it's a dilemma, isn't it? Because we as humans can be so amazing, and the humanity in itself and what it entails as a philosophy can be so amazing. But also we as humans are the plague of Earth. So it really depends on whether you want to fix the world in terms of nature and a surviving planet, or you want to fix the Earth in terms of, you know, humans, because those are, I think, almost polar opposite. And for humans, I think it's more or less impossible. I don't think you could solve anything. I mean, you can take us back to you know, cave days when we didn't have much personality and individualism evolved. But then, unfortunately, once you get that kind of more complex thinking pattern like we have today, there's just no way around conflict. I'm a real realist, which can sometimes come across as a bit of pessimism, but even with, you know, the way I present things on Instagram, I always try to look at things in a really kind of raw and real way. I don't want to tell everyone that it's amazing, and, you know, if we just all say, I don't know, one nice compliment to each other, tomorrow is going to be, you know, a different world. I want to look at it realistically, and that would probably be erasing everyone's memory and brain capacity so they can't think for themselves, you know, going back to cave days basically, or just getting rid of humans.
Okay, so if we got rid of humans and we were all animals, what animal would you be and why?
Definitely a bird. I think just because it's so liberating to be up there and look down at the world and feel the wind and just, you know, not hear anyone else other than the wind. I think there's a lot of amazing animals that I'd love to kind of imagine myself as, but a bird, no matter the one, as long as it could fly basically everywhere, a migrating bird, I think that's what I choose.
I think that's very beautiful. And what do you see as the biggest opportunity for individuals who want to make impact right now?
Social media, and again, a dilemma, because it can be so, actually just watched Social Dilemma the other day, and it can be, like they said, such a utopia and such a dystopia at the same time. And that's how I look at it as well. Social media is what we make out of it. It's not something really on its own. It's the way we spread messages and the way we spread love or hate and what we choose to communicate. And like never before, now we are so interconnected throughout the whole world, and so many different industries and fields and interests have connected. Whilst in the past we were always very secluded, and social classes and political classes, everything's clashed together, which can be a big mess. But it's also a huge opportunity for those, like you said, who want to have an impact, because it's all there for you. It's at the reach of your phone. It's right here.
And we have a lot of impact entrepreneurs and impact influencers watching us right now. What would you say to them? Like, is the future of social media, like, what's the opportunity, the future, where's it headed, that they can really use the tool, as you say, for spreading the utopia, like the best version, using social media for the best way possible?
I think the important thing, because at the end of the day, the social media channels are a real kind of capitalist tool as well. And we have to realize that. And once you kind of realize that, you realize that you're at the mercy of whatever this massive conglomerates decide. So I think one of the main things I would suggest is diversifying your presence online. So whether it's through Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, newsletter, having your own website, building some kind of forum system. So everything that doesn't just tie your whole existence to one platform. Because, Instagram rolls out a new algorithm tomorrow that kills, let's say, I don't know, everyone's sustainability posting. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Someone's saying decluttering commercialization, commercialism. I mean, I would say decluttering is a really great thing to do, like making sure that you're really following only people that you feel a connection with, and using social media to actually build your own movement. And I absolutely agree with you as well, Doina. Like, the biggest lesson that I've learned in terms of social media marketing secrets is to build your own community and build your own email list. And absolutely, because that's something that you have absolute control of, is your own email list. And why are we doing all this hard work on social media? Is actually because we want to spread our own messages. We want to share impact, and we want to build our communities. So yeah, I think absolutely. Thank you for sharing the awesome tips. And I would love to ask you, tell us something about yourself that others would be surprised to know. So your audience and my audience, something secret no one knows, or few people know.
I don't know. I think maybe the fact that I've dealt with mental conditions in my time, including eating disorders and depression. And I think when people see me, they kind of can assume that I'm a very strong person, because I can be very strong and very kind of, again, I think it comes from that stubbornness. So I think sometimes when you see a person very kind of driven and who knows what they want, you can disassociate them from the fragilities of what it means to be a human being. So I think a lot of times when I kind of start talking about these things, people are like, oh my God, I could have never guessed that you went through something like that. And we all go through it. So I think
we all do.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing to share, and we all go through periods of depression, anxiety, low self-worth, and I think it's great to have these conversations and to share that, because especially against social media, when there's been this like, gotta be perfect, look perfect and inside not feeling perfect. So what are great tools that have been helpful to you when dealing with like dealing with feeling depressed, being depressed? Like what's helped you?
With depression specifically, to be honest, I would be lying if I said I found a secret or tools. Same about self-love. I think realistically, if, like the whole movement of self-love for me is, I don't quite take it seriously because in my life, I've never really met people that genuinely inside fully love themselves and fully accept themselves. As sad as it might be, I think we all, on the outside, we might say, yes, I'm embracing this and that, but we have so many insecurities down here. And I think the idea that it's so easy to love yourself is actually more harmful than good. So I actually love it when I speak to people about, you know, the lack of self-love and admitting that I don't love myself to the full potential. I love myself, but I also don't love myself a lot of times. And that's okay. Because I feel like now I go to on social media and I see everyone so, oh, I'm so secure in my own skin and I'm confident and I love myself, and I feel so, oh my God, what's wrong with me because I can't achieve this? What are these people doing? So for sure, I think admitting that that's the case and then not trying to lie yourself into self-love, but genuinely spending every day trying to understand what it is you appreciate about yourself, what it is you don't like, because sometimes, you know, if it's things that we can improve on, like our work ethics or character or, work going through those and maybe changing things if you want them changed, or not changing things, but actually having like a daily conversation with yourself. And I think it really comes from being in sync rather than not. If you're feeling down, admit that you're feeling down.
Yeah.
And try to feel better, you know?
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, no, positive thoughts, positive thoughts. I don't think that works, at least in my experience.
I found a few that I found a few things helpful that I can share, because I study meditation, and I found this really helpful, because actually I'm kind of realizing that we're born with negative feelings and we're born with positive feelings. So it's like our negative feelings have been given to us as this massive challenge in life, and we're just born with them. And I'm like, well, I'm a positive person, so why do I wake up in the morning and I feel negative? It's awful. I'm so tired of feeling like this. It's horrible when you also feel like a positive person, and then you're like, it's like this inner voice is not being positive. And then I've kind of been studying this a lot, because I feel your pain, like I'm with you, and I'm like, this is rubbish. And what I've come to understand is we're kind of given this negativity to kind of overcome it, like every day, work it through, because to kind of reveal more and more light, we have to work at it. We're not given positivity. We have to work for positivity. And something like that I found really helpful is writing a gratitude diary every day. And I was like, well, what is this? Pardon?
I've heard that. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, so I kind of did it. So the trick is to do it, but not do it, to do it from your heart. So write it and go the things that, like, I write it first thing in the morning. When I wake up, what do I feel positive about? Like, and it can be, it's anything. What do I feel grateful for? What do I feel joyful about? And so then, you know what happened to me after, I've done this every day for a month. Mm-hmm. And what's happened to me after a month of doing it is actually my feelings start to change. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm not feeling negative. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And so it's like this, I don't know, it's kind of like a conditioning that's happening inside. And then I'm combining that with the first thought I say when I wake up, the first thought I think when I wake up in the morning, I go, think something that you're grateful for or positive about.
Yeah.
Because again, my brain would wake up and it will go, oh, I'm worried about this. Why has this not happened? And I was like, okay, this is how, and it's working. Like and third thing I'm doing is listening to recordings of affirmations. So because I'm studying a lot, like the brain and how like, it's just a fact. We have factually been given this negativity, and someone's saying like living in toxic environments, then it's like we've been factually like, the news is toxic environment. There can be friends that are toxic environment. And the news is like conditioning. It's getting worse and worse, this negativity. But the only thing we can control is ourselves. And yet we're given this challenge that inside ourselves is negative anyway, because it's just the conditioning. It's what we're born with. We're born with the negative. We have to work for the positive. So these tools like are really like helpful, and they change the brain waves if we do them all, and we have to be really strict to make sure to do them every single day, and then slowly seeing the benefits of it.
Yeah, and I agree. I haven't done all of them, but what you were saying about kind of telling yourself positive thoughts and waking up, and I think that's where, you know, what I think it comes from, identifying that you're feeling it and not just kind of saying, oh, think positive, but actually, and I find that so often I will over stress about one thing and get anxious about a thing, and then I sit down and I analyze, and I'm like, why am I depressed about this thing? It's 100% not worth the time. It's so small, and actually a very kind of light thing on the grand scheme of things, even on the small scheme of things, because most things that we get depressed about and anxious about is so insignificant. I mean, we're living, like, we're alive, and you know, and if the people you love are alive, what else do you care about? That's
exactly.
Realistically, we should have such kind of basic needs that we concentrate on. But also, what I didn't mention, and actually this I found really works for me, it's what a lot of people don't realize is that depression is such a health state. It comes so much from the things you're lacking in the body, whether it's vitamin D, whether it's iron, whether it's magnesium, and a lot of times people, you know, they think they're depressed, they think something's wrong with them, or they think it purely comes from here. No, it's so much genetics, and so much comes from what you're consuming, and whether you're taking supplements, whether you're exposing yourself to the sun, whether you're living in a polluted environment. So a lot of it, I've noticed, you know, when I go through this period, I'll do, say, blood tests, and I will see that everything is out of order. Like, my vitamin D is too low, like critically low, and my iron, and I realize actually, you know, there is an actual medical explanation for this as well. So a lot of times it truly is worth doing tests and looking at that side of things as well, because it can be.
I agree completely. I take vitamins every day. Again, I've been doing that religiously for like 2 months for exactly that reason, because I was finding at certain times of the month I would feel like, when it's the full moon, I feel like massively the energy of the full moon, and I get very, very, very down for 2 days. And it seems the deeper I meditate, the more sensitive I am to this, to the energies out there. So I never used to get this like really down feeling when the moon happened. Now I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know if I can cope with this feeling. And it happens for about 4 or 5 days around the full moon. So I went to the vitamin shop and I said, help me please. And absolutely, the key things for mood is vitamin D, as you said, magnesium, and
iron is a huge one as well.
And someone saying intolerances, yes, absolutely. Food intolerances is the next thing to work out what suits your body.
Definitely check your health, because so much of what we go through it really is like a chemical reaction in our body. And especially as a woman, you know, like every month, most of us lose blood, and you need to compensate for that. And I will see when I'm going into my period, or, you know, past it, I feel this huge kind of anxiety, but also exhaustion, because I have quite low iron levels already, and I don't really eat meat. So, you know, that's why you have to compensate, and you have to make sure that all of that is in order. Otherwise, your personal life gets impacted, your work life gets impacted.
Reem is saying that Muslims fast for 3 days during the time of the full moon. That's super interesting. Do you do that every month? And what are the benefits, Reem, of fasting for over the time of the full moon? The third vitamin's vitamin B12. I
Oh
take
yeah,
vitamin
B12 as well.
B12,
Yeah,
and then iron, but depending, like check your iron whether you need the iron or not.
exactly. Yeah,
The other ones, vitamin D, magnesium, and magnesium not every day. Like if you have fish twice a week, you could just manage yourself, because you can overdose on, like take too much magnesium. So you have to check with the health food
yeah.
store, check with the
I mean,
doctor.
all of them, I would say, all of them, it's best to do blood tests, because no matter, you can, even if you're, you have an insufficiency of some, a deficiency of some vitamins or substances, you might take the pills that are sold for people, but if you have a huge deficiency, you need to get a medical prescription of a lot in order to actually fill it back up. The
Yeah.
little, you know, iron in the shop is not going to help you.
No.
So it's always good to not just take them out of the
Yeah.
blue, but look at your blood.
Really understand yourself. So we've got vitamin D, magnesium, B12, biotin, someone has said, and iron 5. They're all really helpful, but test yourself first, as Doina's
Yeah.
saying. And the thing about the interesting thing about women and periods and moods and things, another thing I've kind of learned, because same thing, it's like that's the other time, and then I had the full moon and the period at the same time, and I was like, oh my
We're lucky, aren't we?
yeah. But you know, something that I came to understand or learn from teachers was that actually this cycle of the woman is like the moon. So we go through literally the man is the sun and the woman is the moon, and the woman is designed to go through this cycle. And actually, rather than fighting against these down feelings, as you were saying, like going into the down feeling, like allowing the down feeling, allowing sadness, allowing anger, allowing whatever comes up, because actually what we don't allow our feelings, we numb ourselves to our feelings. We're scared to feel, actually we're scared to feel positive feelings as well, because they can be overwhelming. Joy can be overwhelming, love can be overwhelming, and so can the negative feelings like anger, etc. So we tend to just numb ourselves and not really feel anything either way that much. But when we start to get into it and allow our feelings, when we feel these downness or the anger or whatever, they're actually just signposts to go and have a look at, like, what's going on, what do I need to look at? And when you go into that feeling and actually let it run its course, then it will just go and you actually free yourself up. But when we don't allow the feeling, we keep in the same cycle of the feeling. For
sure, I love that. And you know what just came to my mind, actually, the one tip that has really helped me, which might sound ridiculous, I don't know if I read it somewhere or I just heard it somewhere in a movie. It was something very random. I basically started, whenever I'm really kind of low and depressed, I basically just started smiling and like putting a real grin on. Even if I'm walking down the street, I'll be walking and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay, let me smile. I'm like, and then honestly, and I remember actually I did, because I read a full study on how when you smile, it actually sends signals to your brain, and your body is made to feel like, actually, like, you know, we must be not in sync because she's actually happy, or, you know, the person's actually happy. So when you put a smile on, then suddenly like your whole body kind of like goes through this shock of, wait, there's something positive happening. And I find that when I do that, I then, like, my mood literally changes. And then you can even walk down the street. I do that so often, and I start laughing at myself, and I'm like, actually, this is, you know, like, it's great. Why not laugh? So definitely just randomly laughing.
That I'm gonna try that. That's such a great tip. And it also it feeds into the same thing. Like, our brain is like, it's this wiring. So we can also stop beating ourselves up when we feel down, because it's like not your real self that feels down. It's kind of like just how the brain is wired. And it's like our brain was wired in these like thousands of year old brain, and now we have like a modern brain, but it's like we're a computer with an old operating system. I've read about, I'm not just saying this, by the way, I've
Yeah.
kind of learned it, and I'm saying what I've learned from different teachers. So we are like a computer with an old operating system from thousands of years ago. So it's our job to learn and train our brains how to like have a new operating system. So that's why the smiling works and the gratitude works. And I'm sure in the next 5-10 years they're going to find all these amazing new facts out about the brain, how we can wire ourselves differently. But right now, like, just to accept when you feel down, it might be chemical, go check the vitamins. It might be the moon, and these are real things. And just it's the time of the month, it's a real thing. Just enjoy it, kind of lean into it and go, what's this telling me, and accept it. So when it's the full moon or my period, I'm kind of trying to just accept the feeling and feel really low. And what I was going to say about the women, what we are like, being like the moon, I say we're like a jellyfish. So you have to go, a jellyfish kind of is always doing this in out motion, and you have to kind of go down to go shoot further up. You can't keep going higher unless it's like the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And that's the process of progress. We have to have that back in order to go 2 steps forward. So we have to feel down, to reflect, to work through the things, to go 2 steps forward. Somehow that makes it easier for me to accept and understand why we are given this kind of pain and rubbish feelings.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're only humans, aren't we? Like, anything that we feel is valid, and that's the reality of it. And we shouldn't shame each other or ourselves into not feeling positive or not being thankful. Or so I think just, accepting and doing something about it when you can, and sometimes just, enjoying it, because once a month it's really not that big of a deal. If you can't be bothered getting out of bed and you just want to eat in bed and be like a little pig, it's fine. Just just
thousands of years ago they had the red tent, and all the women went in the red tent for like 10 days. I was like, well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And they just hung out and ate chocolate. So now this has been like an incredible, awesome conversation. I think like the realness and the rawness, as you said, it's like we had one topic and we've come into a totally different topic. Like
sorry, everyone.
Our topic was but it's the connection, because our topic was actually, how do you become an impact influencer? And I actually think this is how, because the way to make impact today is about being real. It's about saying your truth. It's about living with meaning behind everything that you do. So the way that we've actually just had this incredible reveal and sharing from our hearts, like, this is the future. This is what we all want. Would you? I want it. And it's like, this is the opportunity right now for those brave enough to share and to have real conversations, because ultimately what everybody wants is to connect.
Yeah, and I think, I always say, even with sustainability and politics and everything, you can't change anything unless you know what everyone feels, unless you get out of your comfort zone and you find out what that person that thinks radically different from you feels, because you can't change something when you ignore half the planet or most of it. You have to be honest about, and have, like you said, have this real conversations, even when it's awkward, when it's with people you might not like, but you're learning about their way of life and they're learning about your way of life, and you might try and find a middle ground.
And also real conversation with yourself, they can be really awkward too. Like when you're like, all right, so like, I'm going to face myself, like, or if one of these excruciating feelings comes up and you're like, I don't really want to look at this feeling, but you're like, all right, let's do it. And as Madalena says, authenticity, all about being authentic in everything, and starting with yourself, being authentic from your own truth. What's making you happy? What do you want to do? How do you want to live? Who do you want to be with? And then how do you want to communicate? It's all like, this is making impact. because when we communicate from a place of our realness, you can have this great impact with people. I know when I was doing my business before, I was kind of, I was sort of showing, I was wearing clothes and I was showing them on social media, and I never felt right. There was something, and I realized it was because I wasn't speaking my truth. It was like there was only half of me being shown. So yeah, it's like when I've sort of faced that, and then this whole opportunity opens up, and the whole opportunity for you guys opens up the more real we are from our hearts. So
For sure.
would you like to share any closing remarks of this awesome conversation, Doina?
I think we actually had a chat before, and we were talking about following your heart. And obviously we mentioned that a little bit at the beginning, but I think, like, for me, it really is about getting out of your comfort zone and being bold and being different. And I know that right now there's this huge trend online, and we're not different, we're all the same, nobody's better than the others. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think as human beings, we are all different. I mean, we're all completely different genetically, thinking wise, we all think in different ways, we're different personalities, and that's completely fine. And I think actually that should be celebrated. And we as individuals shouldn't be afraid of embracing our uniqueness and individuality. We should celebrate it, and we should go and pursue whatever that uniqueness is. Now, that doesn't mean that you look at others from a superior point of view. It just means that you're unique, which you are. You're unique, I'm unique. Every single person commenting right now is unique, and that's, oops, sorry, somebody called me. That should be celebrated. So
I think that's a wonderful message to close this beautiful conversation around. You're unique, and everyone is unique. I couldn't agree more. And as well, it might not be scary to face up to your uniqueness. It can be scary to face up to your uniqueness, because we're all unique. And whatever it is, like, I certainly have found the more I live from the place of my uniqueness, the more I share that, the more enriched and wonderful my life becomes, because I'm living my absolute truth. And totally, like, whatever's being shared out there saying we're all the same, we're absolutely not all the same. And the future is to find the people that you really connect with, and using social media, using the digital tool to connect in a real way with people, and find your tribe. And you might have 10 different tribes, because there's lots of different parts of our personalities, but find the place of true connection, because that's the way that we can make the real impact that we were born to make in this world.
Yeah, I love that. Completely agree.
Well, thank you so much, Doina, for being here today and this gorgeous conversation.
Thank you, and thank you for your lovely questions. I loved them.
My pleasure. And thank you all, Reem, Madalena, all of you, everybody, for being with us today. And let's do this again. We'll have another conversation. We'll have another power talk soon and talk more. Who knows what's going to come up next time?
For sure. And maybe we're stuck at home again and, need to entertain ourselves. So.
Absolutely. Sending you so much love.
So much, everyone.
And speak
Sending
soon.
love. Bye-bye.
Bye.